I'm the Big Detour, and today we're falling into the spiral and discovering Habbo Hotel, a virtual world created in the year 2000, a place where millions of people created avatars, built rooms, met strangers, formed friendships, and experienced one of the earliest forms of online social life. For many people, Habbo was their first digital home, a place where a username became an identity, where a room became a personal space and where online friendships became real connections. But more than 20 years later, Habbo has become something very different from the world many people remember. The internet changed, social platforms have changed. The people who once filled these worlds moved on, but Habbo remains, still accessible, still active, still containing a community built around a world that has existed through multiple generations of the internet. And with that comes something interesting. Because when a digital world survives long enough, it starts to develop a history of its own stories, controversies, and communities, and questions that are still debated today. Today we fall into the story of Habbo Hotel. Let's fall right in. When Habbo launched in 2000, online communities were still in their early stages. The internet was expanding quickly. Millions of people were beginning to interact in ways they had never happened before. Habbo was designed as a social space, a place where users could create rooms and meet people, communicate and build communities. But creating a place where strangers can meet also creates challenges, because behind every avatar, there is a real person. As Habbo's platform grew, concerns began appearing around inappropriate behavior, anonymous users, and the difficulty of moderating conversations between people of different age groups. In 2012, a Channel 4 investigation raised serious concerns about child safety on Habbo. Following the investigation, Sue Lake temporarily disabled chats across the entire platform. For a social world built around communication, removing communication was a massive decision. The event became known among users as the Great Mute. Sue Lake stated that their decision allowed them to review their systems, improve moderation, and introduce further safety measures. Some people viewed this moment as evidence that Habbo had failed its users. Their argument was a platform built around social interaction, especially one used by younger audiences, should have had stronger protections in place before serious issues had appeared. They believed the situation showed that moderation had not kept up with the growth of the community. Others viewed the response differently. Their argument was online safety was a challenge affecting many platforms during that era and time. They believed Habbo responded when serious concerns were raised and that taking action was better than ignoring the problem at all. The events of 2012 became one of the biggest turning points in Habbo's history, a moment that changed how many people viewed the platform. But Habbo was never only about communication. Over time it developed its own economy. Players could purchase credits using real-world money. Those credits could be used to buy digital items inside the game. Furniture, rare items and collectibles, and things that only existed inside the world of Habbo. But for many players, those items represented much more than just pixels. They represented years of collecting, trading, building, and memories created inside the game. Some rare items become extremely valuable within the community, but where value exists, problems often follow. Habbo became known for scams involving virtual items. Players reported losing collections through fake trades, dishonest deals, and gambling-style rooms. For some players, losing their items felt like losing something they had genuinely invested money and time in. Effort, time, and work, and sometimes a lot of money. However, the company faced a different challenge. These items existed inside a digital platform controlled by Habbo. From the company's perspective, protecting every transaction inside a huge player-driven economy was complicated. From the player's perspective, purchasing something with real money created an expectation for those items to have some level of protection. Some players had argued at the time, if someone spends real-world money on a digital item, the company has a responsibility to protect that investment. Their argument, the company created the system, the company controls the platform, and the player entered an economy where real money was involved. While other players argued that digital items are different from physical possessions. Their argument was players agree to the rules of the platform when joining. Virtual items exist in a service controlled by the company, and companies cannot guarantee every trade or prevent every mistake made by a user. The debate around Habbo was part of a much larger question as more of the lives move online. What does ownership actually mean? As the years passed, Habbo changed, the internet changed, many players moved on, new platforms appeared, new communities formed, but some people stayed. And after more than 20 years, Habbo developed something unusual. A community built around history. Long-term players remember old versions of the game, old rooms, old traditions, old events and old friendships. For some people, Habbo represented a piece of internet history, a reminder of early internet, a time where online communities felt smaller, more personal and more connected. But from the outside, the remaining community can sometimes seem difficult to understand. Some long-term players strongly protect the history and culture of the game. They believe by preserving what made Habbo special is what keeps the world alive and going. They believe they are protecting something that would otherwise disappear. Others see the situation different. They believe every online world should evolve to keep up with the modern world, that holding on to the past too strongly can make change difficult. They argue that without adapting, the older platforms struggle to attract the new generation of player. Either way, after more than 20 years, Habbo is no longer just a game. It has become a community built around memory, a community built around experience, and a community built around shared history. Maybe that is what makes Habbo such an interesting example of internet history, because it contains almost everything that comes with a long-running online world. The friendships, the creativity, the communities, the problems, the controversies, the changes, and the people who refuse to let it disappear. Habbo Hotel is more than just a software. It's shaped by the people who enter it, the communities they create, the experience they share, and the memories they leave behind. More than 20 years later, Habbo was still there. So what do you think? What should happen to Habbo? Should it remain as it is, a preserved piece of internet history? Should it be rebuilt and redesigned for the modern internet? Or has the digital world simply reached the end of its journey? There are people who believe Habbo is worth protecting. There are people who believe it needs to change. And there are people who believe some worlds are simply meant to become memory. That decision is yours. And this spiral ends. Thanks for exploring with me, and I'll see you in the next episode.